Hey guys, Tim here from Mastering. Hope you're having a very great day. In this video I speak about the fundamentals of mastering and common mixing mistakes to avoid before mastering stage. Because to make a great master is to have a great mix. So before we start, please remember, if you have a mix that you need mastered, request a quote at bsmastering.com and receive 50% of your first order. I would also very much appreciate, guys, if you subscribe and hit the notification bell to support my channel. It helps me to bring more videos. And now, let's get started. What are the fundamentals of mastering? What plugin or analog gear we use is definitely important, but there's nothing more important doing it with a purpose. There are three main purposes of mastering: making a song sound better, making it translate on all listening platforms, and of course making it louder. Every action you take should serve one of these purposes. It is important that the plugins you choose fully reflect the track you are working on. So, every single choice a mastering engineer makes needs to have a sensible answer to at least to one of these three mastering purposes. Especially if you're just entering the world of mastering, sit down and listen to the mix sound and think, how can I make this track sound better, more polished and radio ready? How do I make this track sound better on all listening platforms? How can I make this customer hear it as I want him to hear it? Please remember, no golden plugin will help you if you don't know why you need it. One of the most important aspects of mastering, in my opinion, is the fact that the better mix is, the less mastering processing a mastering engineer will apply. Please remember, 90% of how the track sounds is made while mixing. 5–10% is left to a mastering engineer to define if a track is ready to be heard. As a mastering engineer, you will hear a lot of mixes. Some will be great and some really will not be so great. Mastering is always the stage where, if you haven't mastered the mix, problems will be exposed, so to say. So let's look at some common mixing mistakes to avoid before mastering stage. So the bass and kick are too loud. So without doubt, it is the biggest error when the low frequencies are pushed to a needlessly low level during a mixing stage. Overly loud bass eats up headroom and makes it harder to get a loud master. So what shall be done? So the best thing is to ensure to have the most acoustically neutral mixing environment. You can have the latest plugins or most expensive gear, but if you are using them in an untreated room, then your mixes are always going to struggle. Elements disappear when the mix is checked in mono. So many places and items use mono: stadiums, clubs, shops, TVs, cell phones. The list goes on. Lots of electronics items use mono speakers as a convenience or for cost reasons, but systems in big spaces will often use mono to ensure an even sound across a location. So the main mistake is misuse of stereo widening effects. Many widening effects work by adjusting the phase of a stereo signal, and when pushed to the extreme, the signal disappears in mono. So what shall be done? This one is easy. Check your mix in mono. Quickly checking in mono will immediately tell you if anything is wrong, and you can do something about it there and then. The entire mix is too bright. Making audio sound bright is a big temptation when mixing. Lifting up the high frequencies can be a great way of adding extra sheen to a production and making your music sound big money. Also, human hearing is particularly sensitive to frequencies between 2 and 5 K region, and it's a great temptation to load up this area with information in an effort to make parts stand out or have presence. But what can happen is the highs are inundated with extra additive EQ, extra energy, and extra bite, and it all turns into one big spiked break of harshness. So what shall be done? Subtractive EQ is the best friend. At the mastering stage, it's much easier to add a touch of something special than to remove a problem. The mix is muddy or excessively thick, or the rumbles, lack of definition, bass fighting kick, kick fighting bass, bass and kick fighting a weird energy that's pumping in time with the pedal, lead or hi-hats. These mistakes can cause all sorts of problems at mixing and mastering stages by eating up headroom and interfering with compression. So what shall be done? The first thing to do is to identify which tracks should contain the low frequencies, kick or bass or others, and then put a high-pass filter on every other track to completely remove any rogue frequencies that may otherwise be free to roam. This will free up all of the low and space for the parts that actually need it. Another technique is to sidechain the kick to duck the other parts when needed. Too much processing on the master channel. For better or for worse, it's become very common to mix with lots of processing on the master channel. Nearly all modern music demands a certain sound that can only be achieved through master channel processing, but care must be taken as it can be a double-edged sword. Too much EQ will skew the tonal balance of the whole track. Too much compression will squeeze the life out of the track. Too much audio candy processes will drag internal issues, these problems, and all manner of oddities. Too much processing on the master channel will ruin most chances of getting a good master. What shall be done? Resist applying master channel processing until you've achieved a mix that's tonally balanced across the frequency spectrum and has an appropriate dynamic range.